The setbacks for Donald Trump didn't stop when Vladimir Putin's plane left Alaska. They've only continued. Not only because of his repeated missteps on the world stage and treatment of allies, but also because of new reports leaking details from that meeting, painting a picture of just how poorly he came across. The most recent revelations may be the most damaging yet, with the White House now scrambling to manage the fallout. We'll break it all down. How Trump's actions are being perceived and why Carolyn Leavitt appears to be in damage control mode. But before diving into that, a quick reminder. If you're enjoying this content, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us keep bringing you these updates. Now let's get into the latest controversy, including what was exchanged with Putin and what officials have been working to keep under wraps, along with another issue from Trump's meeting with European leaders that sources say they also tried to downplay.
Tonight's breaking Jeffrey Epstein news picks up where last night's breaking Jeffrey Epstein news left off. Congressman Robert Garcia, the top-ranking Democrat on the House Oversight Committee, joined us last night after his committee conducted a 4-hour closed-door deposition of the worst Attorney General Donald Trump got confirmed by the Senate in his first term as president, William Barr. The Republican chairman of the Oversight Committee, James Comer, suggested last night that William Barr testified that Donald Trump did nothing wrong with Jeffrey Epstein. Congressman Garcia is now insisting, quote, yesterday during his deposition with the committee, Attorney General Barr could not clear Donald Trump of wrongdoing. Chairman Comer should release the full, unedited transcript of his interview for the public. Congressman Garcia will lead off our discussion again tonight. Donald Trump has a lot to hide from these days, and more than one way of doing it. European leaders rushed to Washington yesterday to conduct an intervention in the White House to prevent Donald Trump from doing something crazy with Vladimir Putin, and the intervention worked, at least for a day, at least for now. The White House released this photograph of the intervention showing how Donald Trump chose to hide his newest problem during the intervention: his ankles. After photographers have repeatedly captured Donald Trump's swollen ankles over the last month, the White House released a statement saying that the swollen 79-year-old ankles were a symptom of chronic venous insufficiency. That's one of the ways a lifetime of McDonald's junk food catches up with you. One of the places those Big Macs are going to show up is in the ankles, hanging over the edge of your shoes. We can only wonder if the White House would have ever admitted that Donald Trump's blood circulation is insufficient if not for the telephoto lenses of White House photographers zooming in on the ankles.
Are cover-ups the only thing they do at the White House anymore? Or is that it? Is that all that Donald Trump is ever focused on? We talked about yesterday Pam Bandy is trying to cover up for the fact that she's taking gifts every time she can get them, and she's more focused on breaking ethics laws than making sure our laws as a country are enforced. But yeah, it's just a cover-up for the White House all of the time. That's about it. And one of the worst of them was pretending that Donald Trump didn't run away to his buddy Vlad in the middle of his meeting. He did. And it's important context before we get into that gift. Putin gave Trump strict 15-minute deadline for a late-night call to the Kremlin. Vladimir Putin gave Donald Trump a strict 15-minute window to make a late-night phone call to the Kremlin after White House peace talks with Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told Laura Ingraham that after his discussions with Zelensky and a host of European leaders on Monday, Trump wanted to call Putin to organize a meeting with the Ukrainian president. Is that not pathetic to anyone else that Putin's like, you can call me, I guess you have 15 minutes, whatever, like, I don't really want to talk to you. And Trump was like, yeah, let me get on the phone right now. He ran out of the room. And I know he can't run with those swollen cankles of his, but he ran out of the room to go take a call from Putin. What leverage does that give us? Trump always talks about being so tough and so strong. I have all the leverage. But when you're giving it away that easy, you don't, Donald. You just look pathetic. Which is exactly how Donald Trump looked in a leaked example of giving away Putin a gift. But now, the White House is panicking over Trump's tacky gift to European leaders revealed. After leaked documents claimed that Trump gifted Russian President Vladimir Putin a ceremonial bold eagle desk statue during their not-so-frigid meeting in Anchorage on Friday. The White House seemed to make a hasty attempt to show it isn't playing favorites. On Monday, it released a series of photos on Twitter showing what appears to be 7 pen holders, each plastered with the official White House seal and Donald Trump's signature. At least 7 European leaders were present for Trump's Russia-Ukraine peace summit that day held at the Oval Office. In the photo, the president sits behind the iconic Resolute desk with a semicircle of Europe's most powerful figures arranged in front of him. Pens can also be seen next to the holders, but it's unlikely the added stationery quite equals the value or symbolism of a bald eagle statue. The Daily Beast reached out to the White House for comment. Of course, they didn't respond. Donald Trump and Carolyn Leavitt seemed desperate to downplay what really happened, including the perception that they're handing out favors to Vladimir Putin. Reports suggest it's less about diplomacy and more about optics, with the administration trying to brush it off as routine gift exchanges. But let's be honest. When you compare a small token, like a pen or even those novelty White House M&Ms, to the symbolic gestures that actually took place, the contrast couldn't be more striking. It's awkward, and it highlights just how clumsy the administration's attempts at spin really are. Their explanations often end up looking as questionable as the original actions themselves, making it clear where their loyalties appear to lie. Trump has leaned into this dynamic, repeating it publicly, and no one has broken it down more sharply than Lawrence O'Donnell did in this recent segment.
And that, Donald, is why people say it's such a terrible thing that you feel warmth for that murderous dictator when you see him. Quote, when he got off his plane, I got off my plane. There's a warmth that you can't, there's a decent feeling. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. People would say, oh, that's such a terrible thing. Not a terrible thing. Yes, it's a terrible thing. Is that what you felt when you saw Jeffrey Epstein getting off his plane in Palm Beach? He got off his plane, I got off my plane. There's a warmth that you can't, there's this, it's a decent feeling. Is that what you felt, Donald, when you saw Jeffrey Epstein? And speaking of crazy, Donald Trump told his Fox worshipful questioners this morning this about Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine.
This is the biggest bad situation since World War II. There's been nothing even close.
Oh, yes, there has, Donald. The war you avoided back when your ankles were slim and a local doctor wrote a note to your draft board saying that you had bone spurs in your feet that then spent the rest of their lives playing golf. The Vietnam War was much bigger and much worse situation than the war in Ukraine, and it went on much longer, especially for the American soldiers who went to Vietnam in your place. 58,000 of them have their names on a wall near where you live now because they never came home from Vietnam, and no amount of lying the way you do and exaggerating the military death tolls in Ukraine will ever bring those death tolls up to the level of the Vietnam War, which also included the deaths of as many as 2 million civilians in that war. And the Vietnam military, the North Vietnamese military, the Viet Cong fighters, between 200,000 and 250,000 of them, including South Vietnamese soldiers. Donald Trump did say one thing, about Vladimir Putin today that wasn't crazy, but it is something that everyone else has already been saying about Vladimir Putin, and Donald Trump today became the last one to realize this when Donald Trump told his Fox Morning friends, quote, "It's possible that he doesn't want to make a deal." That's right, Donald. That's possible. That's why everyone thought you were crazy yesterday when you were overheard on a hot mic telling the president of France that Vladimir Putin would make a deal for you, just to do you a favor.
There are plenty of words people use to describe Donald Trump's time in office: corrupt, reckless, chaotic, embarrassing. But more than anything, it's becoming clear that pathetic might be the word that sticks. Think about it. He promised major trade deals within 90 days, yet here we are years later with little to show for it. His tough talk about strength and power fades the moment he's standing next to Putin. Where's the leadership? Where's the confidence? Where's the ability to even finish a sentence without stumbling? It's all just pathetic. And that's exactly why we'll keep pointing it out right here every single day. If you want to support the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and if you've made it this far, drop a blue heart in the comments so we know you're with us. Until next time, I will see you soon.